Hello, everybody. Hello. Just wait some more seconds to let all the participants enter into the room. I'm very glad to stay here today. I'm Nicola from tutored team. Before start this final of the Startup Challenge, I would like to remember all of you some important information about this platform. On the left side, you can find the two most important icon. Conversation is just a chat in which you can write everything you need. About the question, you just have an icon, question and answer. It's important to do all the question all there. The last icon important is the one on the bottom right, in which you can use to decide if you want to see all the speaker or the presentation as you prefer. I know that today there will be a very long afternoon today because we have a lot of very important and very interesting startups. So I would like to leave the screen, we can say, in this webinar to Marta, and see you later.
Thank you very much, Nicola. So welcome everybody. So to the final event of the Startup Challenge. We received a lot of great startup ideas and proposals, and really I want to thank all the teams that submitted the idea. You all did really a great job. You were very creative and super propositive. The competition was very high and it was super difficult to choose, but here we are with the 6 teams that we pitched today in front of our jury of experts. So I will first present the jury, whom I thank a lot for taking part in our project and for the very inspiring webinars that they did for us during the challenge, from the first one on sustainability to the one on business model Canva and pitching. So today our jury is composed of Anna De Stefano, the business model angel and startup mentor, who did the webinar on pitching, Stefano Mizio, head of Startup Acceleration Program at Polihub, who did the workshop on business model Canva, and our professors from Politecnico di Milano, the first one, Gabriele Masera, professor and the deputy dean of the School of Architecture, Urban Planning and Construction Engineering at Politecnico di Milano, and Professor Francesco Grimaccia, who is professor at the Energy Department of Politecnico. And finally, a new entry, let's say, Leonardo Massa, who is an investment manager at Progress Tech Transfer. Thank you very much to all of you. So finally, I would like to thank, before starting, Tutored and Polihub for supporting the Entrepreneurship Club Polimi in organizing our first Startup Challenge. And I'm sure that it's not going to be the last. Then I present the finalist teams, which are EcoPeak, Recycle Love, H2 Home, Lambda, Sowit, and EcoGym. So we will proceed in this order, and each team will have 7 minutes for their pitch. I will be the one keeping the timing, and we decided to be very strict, guys, because we gave you a lot of time compared to the one that Anna suggested us. She said that a good pitch can be done in 3 minutes, so do your best in 7. We'll be very strict, and then we'll have a 10 minutes Q&A session. Finally, the judges will gather for 10 minutes and we'll decide their vote and we'll announce the winners. So we're going to proceed in this way. So I ask the guys from EcoPeak to please write their names in the chat so that I can add them as speakers and they can start. Perfect, Giovanni. Okay, move to speaker, Giovanni. Can I ask the judges? Thank you very much, because we cannot be too many with the camera on. Instead, please, Giovanni, show yourself.
You hear me?
Thank you very much. Hello, yeah,
Right. I'll try to share my screen now. How can I do it?
Oh, yeah, sure. You should press the screen share. Yes, it's below the question mark.
Perfect. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes. So, Giovanni, I leave you 7 minutes as soon as you put on. Okay, perfect. So, perfect. I leave the floor to you.
Thank you very much. So, Sometimes in our life, we meet some problems that we didn't even know existed. Can you see the pig-shaped graph on this slide? Well, that's the problem I would like to introduce to you today. So it's 6 or 7 in the evening on a working day. You're tired, you're coming, you quit working, you're heading home, you're driving your shiny electric car. As soon as you step home, what would you do? Well, you probably turn on the lights, charge your electric vehicle, turn on the air conditioning, maybe even the TV to watch some news as usual. It would be just fine. And if it was just you, there wouldn't be any problem. But now imagine it happening for everybody, millions of people doing almost the same things and all at the same time. So the key word in here is variability. Both the demand and the supply side of the energy grid vary a lot. On the demand side, for example, we have two peaks, one in the morning and one in the evening. So frequent peaks and almost nothing done yet to optimize the process, which if you think about it, it's such a big waste of resources. Now let's take a look at the supply side. Here, the problem here is that it's even more variable because think of solar and wind, they depend on weather conditions. So, and they vary a lot, even more than the demand side. And furthermore, energy providers have the responsibility to balance these fluctuations every day and to avoid blackouts. So when there's an upcoming peak demand, what would they do? What's the only thing they can do? They can just rely on short-term power generation. That's mainly gas turbines, which are inefficient, polluting, and expensive to run. And that's the only thing they can do until today. Those peak power, turn on those peak power plants. And well, energy providers have become really good at predicting these energy demand peaks, but sometimes they underestimate the actual demand and have to deal with and have to turn on these peak power plants to avoid leaving your home in the dark. And this is only going to get worse as the years pass by because more renewables in the energy grid means more variability on the supply side, and more electric vehicles means higher base loads and sharper peaks because everybody is expected to come home at a certain point of the day and plug in their electric car. And as you can see on the right, both are expected to grow in numbers year after year. And last but not least, carbon taxes and strict CO2 limits are challenging provider on a brand new side, which is sustainability. So all in all, this means that sometimes the energy demand is so high, the energy providers would rather pay you to use less than rely on an efficient short-term power generation. And that's where we step in. So here's our idea. When there's an upcoming peak demand, providers notify EcoPeak, notify us, and we send a notification with our app to the users, which downloaded our app. And the users reduce their energy usage for like an hour, switching off their appliances, like their lights, the washing machine, or even the fridge. It doesn't matter if you turn it off for like an hour or so. And then if you used less than predicted, you get rewarded with points via a gamification feature. And later you can turn them into prizes or even cash. So peak power plants, which are polluting and expensive, are turned off. So saving CO2 and money for the energy provider. And a little bit of this, the saving, a part of the saving is used for reward and to cover the cost of payouts to our customers. Now let's take a deeper look at the energy market. So on one side, you have households paying an almost flat rate or just poorly variable. But the problem is that for providers, generating or buying this energy is everything but flat because the prices fluctuate every day with the demand and offer low. So that's how it can get really expensive and inefficient for providers having to deal with these peaks of demand. Key activities. So what we would like to do. It's all about an app and platform which is easy and costless and which should meet the needs of both customers and energy providers. And maybe in the future, even integrated with automation like IoT devices such as smart plugs to automate the whole process. So you wouldn't even need to move a finger and everything would be shut down at the right moment to avoid the peak demand, like the lights, for example, or your electric charge of your electric car. And below you can see our partners, mainly energy providers and smart home companies, as I said before. So costs, well, we wouldn't have big costs, fortunately, because we don't have any physical product. That makes it easy to scale even internationally. However, like the first entry of the list will be obviously the user payouts, but that will be just proportional to revenue, so not very a big number of cost. And then obviously marketing and IT infrastructure, but that can be planned in advance. Looking at income streams, we have two possibilities, either paid by energy providers for our service or trading negative energy on exchange market, where negative energy means like a reduction in the energy demand. So we will be exactly like virtual power plants, not actually producing energy. And even aim for additional sources like grants from governments for CO2 avoidance or providing grid stability as a service. Here's our team. Eugenio is studying economics at University College London, and Vincent is about to finish his degree in mathematics at Humboldt University in Berlin. And then there's me, Giovanni. I study engineering and physics here at Politecnico. And as you can see, we're both with different degrees, all with complementary skills. And so I think we're a good team, and I like working with them. We already won first prize UCL Explore and Lunch, and we're currently working on the app prototype and looking forward to apply to the S2P challenge at Politecnico di Milano next month. Here are my email contacts. If you want to get in touch for whatever reason, just feel free, and we're really happy to get to meet you. And so that's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, I'll be just right here to answer.
So thank you very much, Giovanni, and thank you to all your team who is not, like, let's say, in the front line. And so let's start with the Q&A session. So if a judge wants to ask any question, you can turn on your video and microphone.
Can you hear me? Okay,
yes.
Thanks. Thanks, Giovanni. Great pitch. I have a couple of questions. The first one is, I mean, what's your competitive advantage? I mean, what do you leverage? I mean, compared to other teams, because at the end of the day, it seems that you're gonna build, let's say, an app. It's a digital things. And the second thing is, how do you integrate your app with, let's say, with the energy provider that at the end of the day they will send the message? So how do you think you can physically do this? Thanks.
So I think I could answer both questions in with just an answer, actually, because what we thought an energy provider would really like to have, it's a ready product with maybe a community already built of people just wanting to we're aiming for both people who care about the environment, or households with low income, or people who are smart home fans. So that's what we really aim for. And I think that given an energy provider a built-in community with with already a prepared product, because I know it's just an app, as you may say, so everybody can do that. But the point is that having some knowledge on the energy grid, which, well, we both have, me and Vincent, some knowledge about it, because I studied engineering and physics. He did some math in the working for optimizing also the energy fluctuations. So we know some about that. And I think that what energy providers would really like us to create is that a platform already built, so they don't have any pain in doing it, in struggle in doing that, because it can take some time. So if we arrive to them already with the prepared product and just be, hey, it's such easy, and it's all made up. And I think that's how they can really get interested in our product, because we would get all take them off from all the work they wouldn't like to do.
Just a very brief question, partially related to the Stefano one, the second one. Are you looking to the retail market, gross market, and regarding the feasibility and impact, how can you face, for example, electricity like flat rate, or phasing with macro trends like having storage or prosumers that they produce their own energy? How do you reply to this?
Well, that would be probably all integrated. Well, for the part of storage, cellular storage of the single appliances, that would be, I mean, the next step probably with home automation. So integrating also towards a smarter grid. So integrating our service also with the possibility of single customers to you know, produce their own energy or even store it. So that's an idea for like in the near future. And yeah, as for like for energy providers, as I said, it would be probably easier to just stick to a platform that already exists than to create their own. So I don't know if I answered. Is it fine? Were you asking something slightly different? Maybe.
No.
I don't know if I may.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Now I have a couple of questions for the, let's say, from the both sides, the extreme sides of your market, of your business. From one side, I would like to know a little bit more about how do you think to build your community and which actions are you going to leverage? Because I think that that's a very important part of your solution, and you have to work it around. You have to work it very well, because that would be probably at the beginning your real value, the value that you were going to offer to both suppliers and market. So how do you think to build up this community on one side, and then on the other side for the suppliers, how do you think that you can integrate with the capability? How do you think that, are you going to integrate also some predictive instruments that can help you in the future to, let's say, instead of following the waves, the growth or the peaks, to predict them, and so start making your platform even more efficient and probably also even more interesting for the suppliers?
Absolutely. So I'll go in order. So first, the community. And that's a really important part. We already know, like, we already realized that actually that's the main, what we focus on, because we have to like have some people to trust that will actually reduce their energy when there's a need. So that's all probably made via a gamification feature. Exactly. So instead of rewarding people directly with money, we would like to reward them with points that can be converted to money. And then, for example, we can reward more points for fidelity, or even maybe try to, you know, convince them to, you know, maybe give even some challenges or stuff like that, or maybe more points for, you know, moments where it's totally important to reduce or save energy. And you know, we will really push on that. Maybe even create some, like, you know, a challenge among people, compete with your friends, stuff like that. To actually, the more you reduce, the more you earn. Actually, the more we can trust you, and so you can get from us because you deserve it. So that's and maybe also partnerships with companies that will provide prices for people to. If they like, instead converting those points to, instead of cash, for prices, like, for example, for discounted goods around. So that would be even, you know, even more an advantage for people to reduce their energy usage. On the other side, as you mentioned, the next question was about the productivity, predicting those energy fluctuations, and that could be a really interesting possibility for the future. And that would be investing in artificial intelligence for creating predictive algorithms on how to, like, that has a really big potential if you think about it, because well, with all that, like, it's sort of a big data actually. Like, you can get really acquire information about the energy grid and how the people using the energy grid are behaving. So integrating that with predictive algorithms and artificial intelligence could have a really good potential. Also selling, yeah, as I said, providing grid stability as a service, that's all part of that, because giving energy providers also the knowledge on how the market of energy really fluctuate. Like, we could have the power actually to shape the peaks of this, to shape the fluctuations of this energy grid. So
I'm glad that you put this also, if I well understand, in your roadmap, because I think that also this could also be a good point. So I'm glad. I was just wondering if you had put this also in your roadmap or not, and it seems to me that's yes. And also, I would suggest to you to consider that part, all the part related to the data, because I think that that also would be a great part of a different business, but that you can make very interesting for your suppliers and possible clients.
Thank you.
Perfect. We still have 1 minute if there is any more question from the judges. So if that's all, thank you very much, Giovanni, for your presentation. Thank you very much for participating, and see you in a while then. I will move you back to the audience.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Yes, and please, if the guys from Recyclove could please write in the chat their name, I will add them as speakers. Perfetto. Davide and Luca.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, guys, you're both there. So wait a minute.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Can you hear me too? Okay.
Yes. Whenever you want, guys, you can start. Good luck.
Yeah. How can I do to share the screen?
There is behind the question mark, below the question mark, there is a screen share button on the left bar.
Okay. After the question mark, there's a screen.
Below there is a screen share.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay. Yeah. Just a second, because I have two screens. Okay. Now you should see.
Yes.
Okay, the screen.
Okay.
Entire screen. So hopefully, give me 1 more second. I'll be here.
Yeah. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay, we are ready.
Just a second. Oh, sorry. Okay, now I suppose we are ready.
Okay, we are ready. So welcome to Discover O'Clock, our innovative idea. First of all, we want to start from a very big issue. So Italy has already reached the overshoot day on 13th of May for this year, and it is a problem. The overshoot day is the day in which we have already used all the resources of the Earth for the current year, but we aren't yet at the middle. So we have to do something, and there's no more time to wait. Our aim is to exploit a sustainable and social business model. And in particular, we want to delay the overshoot day by 1 day every year. And we want to start from Italy, but then to scale up to Europe. In particular, we want to involve citizens to create local communities to recover raw materials. And we want also to lock the special wastes supply chain and to promote a circular economy. Our value proposition is simple, but at the same time very ambitious. First of all, of course, we want to educate citizens, and then we want to make waste of the electronical and electrical equipment collection safer. We want also to promote recycling, and then we want to promote local carbon offsetting projects. But how did we add this idea? We wanted to answer to a very big question, and the question was, where do we go? It is quite difficult to say that. In particular, we have the problem of the illegal market. Moreover, we have wrong disposals due to lack of information about recycling, in particular electronic devices. And then in Italy, we have just a few waste disposal plants if compared with the population. Another big problem is that even if people are able to collect in disposal plants, sometimes they come there with lack of valuable components or they are broken. And it is, of course, an issue. Which is our target market? Our target market are, of course, citizens, recycling companies, and municipalities. And in particular, we want to start focusing on the city of Milan. Our solution is a locker plus an application. The locker, of course, will be used to collect wastes, and in particular, we want to focus on R3 and R4 wastes. Lockers will be placed in easy accessible places, such as shopping malls, and the boxes will be optimized to host as many wastes as possible. The application will be used, of course, to use the locker, but it won't be compulsory. It will also be used to educate people about recycling, and in particular, we want to organize rewarded challenges with prizes. And then we also want to have a platform to collect donations for local carbon offsetting projects.
Okay, now it's business time. So how can our solution be the missing link between people and the rest of the supply chain? So basically, our business model works literally thanks to waste of people. So our main activity is to collect the waste from citizens and sell it to the recycling company. So this will be our main income. We have also to consider that we must sign contracts with the municipalities or become subcontractors of societies, like, for example, HAMSA. And finally, we are aware that having a digital platform to manage a community really interested in green issues, we would be a great marketing channel, really appealing for the advertisers of green products. And also an important thing is to consider our mission. So local carbon offsetting is a very relevant part, because we think that if we allow people to donate and be part of a local green project, this can strengthen our relationship with the local community and push citizens to use our application. Of course, given that citizens are the few that can trigger change, we started from them. We made a survey and we got many answers in a few days. The majority is willing to download the app to use the locker without doubts. A small part is willing to use it in exchange for prizes, and just a little part does not want to download an app, but simply don't want to download a new application. So our locker will be available also for them without a virtual profile. Of course, we also conducted some researches and talked with an expert of Comune di Milano, and we really appreciated the community centricity of our proposal. Last but one of the most important drivers for future development of our project is the revolutionary proposal of the European Commission to build a detailed plan for the circular economy where millions of euros will be devoted to improve the waste cycle, touching many of the pain points we are trying to solve right now. So it is very perfect. And what about marketing? So as you can understand, all the involved stakeholders require a specific marketing approach. We are going to keep in contact with the institution continuously. Then we will organize special launch event to show the locker to the community. And anyway, our objective is to strengthen the relationship with people. So we want to establish strong partnerships with local green association and neighborhood groups. But how can it realize? So who we are. So I am Luca Fiorenzola, an industrial management engineer with a background of automation and electronics. And my colleague is Davide Formenti, a chemical engineer with a strong knowledge about life cycle assessment and renewable energies. Actually, we are evaluating whether to outsource the digital platform development or to add a developer in our team. But how our idea can grow? So in the first year, we plan to get the needed file to develop our platform, the locker. We want to build a network, study the community and the city. And finally, of course, we hope to sign the first contract. We want to start with one locker in Milan the first year. In the second year, install about 10 lockers. And from the third year, we expect to expand to Bologna. Okay, if you look at these numbers, basically it's a rough estimation, okay, of the cash in and the cash out coming from our main business, and you can see the high potential, okay, just with an order of magnitude, but you can see that the order of magnitude is about 1 million euros, okay. And also, if you look at the competitors, you can see that we are better in reaching people and lowering their effort, and we are also better at ensuring high quality recycling. And furthermore, we are introducing a new value adding activity for both the environment and the community, which is the local carbon offsetting. Okay, I'm finished, but now it's up to all of us. Now it's also up to you. So we can delay the overshoot day here by here. So let's change course. Let's start the clock. Thank you. If you have any question, feel free to do it.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Right on the bell, I would say. I was about to. Very good, guys. Okay, so question from the judges.
Yeah, I have one. Thank you for the presentation, first of all. Except for the marketing strategy, what about the product that you're developing? What's the technology or product or app roadmap that you have in mind?
Yeah, basically, we are expecting to develop the locker, and we have the competencies that are useful because Davide is a chemical engineer. And so for all the materials related with the wastes and with the locker, we should be okay in that part. The application we are now evaluating. We are searching for a new team member, okay, which will be an app developer. But also we are also evaluating maybe to outsource this kind of activity, because our application want to be a platform where people can interact. Okay, we want to build a gamification strategy. We want to introduce maybe a little suggestion about a green solution. We want to sometimes to send push notifications. Okay, to remember maybe special events. Of course, the main aim is to use the locker so you can book the space in your locker. Consider that the locker will be spread along the city in the main shopping malls, so it will be very easy to be reached. And of course, for the promotion, but also this game, okay, can work if we have the full sustain of the community. So we want to work from the bottom with green association and neighborhood groups in order also to diffuse our application, because it is important. One of the most important things is that people download our app. So when we have thousands of users, then we will say the first results. Okay, the community effect. So I hope to have answered.
Very briefly, I saw your cost list. Can you better describe which costs have you considered in, for example, discharging the locker or renting the space and some?
Okay, yeah. Basically, here we have a very rough estimation of the cash flow. Basically, we based just on the core businesses. We are talking about the cost of lockers, and we estimated about 15,000 euros. Okay, for each locker, just material, not the development, because we assume that for the development of the locker, we have internally competencies, so we can assume 0 for now, of course. Anyway, any estimation is downwarded, okay, not for the cost, but for the income. Then we found on a report that is a bill of the Senate, where we found that the average wheat price per kilo is about 20 cents, okay, because in Italy already exists a business like this, but of course it's not organized and citizens are not connected with the supply chain, so it's very inefficient. But the average price that you can find on the internet is 20 cents per kilo, and also the kilo of waste that is collected per person is about 6 kilos in 2020 in Italy. For the other cost, I suppose that an app development cost, if outsourced, of about 30,000 euros, and also a maintenance cost, which include, of course, the salary of the person that is in charge, which is about also 35 euros, okay, for a year. And of course, I supposed a budget for an initial marketing campaign of about 50,000 euros. Yes. And so according to the numbers that you said in the growth strategy, so the users and the number of locker, we made a computation for the incomes coming from the waste. And then, of course, we subtracted all the other costs that I have just mentioned.
Operating cost. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. Are there any other questions? Perfect.
Am I right? Yes. Okay. Now, thank you very much for the presentation. I think it has been very vibrant. So it's very interesting. Also, I like very much the way how you present the clock and the call to action that you ask us all. So it makes me think. Can you tell us a little bit more about these lockers? Because I think that they're a crucial point of your strategy, and though on the other side could be also the most critical one, because when you have to provide to deliver physical objects, then it's a little bit more difficult to scale, or at least you have to manage better the operations for scaling. So can you go a little bit deeper on why these lockers? What are they so special? Which is their difference? If you can buy it, how much you have to personalize, and how do you think to scale the operations with this locker while providing these lockers, please?
Yeah, look, first of all, we decided to use lockers because maybe people are more friendly, okay, with this kind of object, because we know that, for example, Amazon has a sort of lockers where you can take your product, of course, but why the locker? Because it is crucial to guarantee an high quality recycling. So we need that all the objects that you put in the locker are basically not broken. So we have to guarantee to the recycling companies that they will have entire objects with all the valuable components, because of course they earn from the valuable components. And usually in Italy, this doesn't happen because we know that this is a legal market, a parallel market. I know that is more difficult to scale when you have a physical object like a locker that, of course, imply that you lever on many things. So you have to make an agreement with the shopping mall. You have to make agreements with the municipalities. You have to make agreements with many actors. But of course, we know that if you succeed in signing a contract with municipalities, of course, all this part is care about not the municipality, but you are facilitated in this sense. And of course, you are forced to do the contract because the waste collection is managed from AMSA, usually so societies, external societies, which has contract with the municipality, but it is easier, okay, if you are a subcontractor, for example, of AMSA, because you have all the permission you need, and since we have to ensure also the full traceability of the product, that's another motivation why we need to have a locker, because we have to be sure that the person put the item in the right place, having book, and we have all the data, we know who is the person. And so basically that's our strategy. For the scaling up of the lockers, of course, when we will find the right supplier, of course, because before we have to develop it with the right materials, then at the point we don't need it is so complicated to install this kind of items along the cities. Okay, we decided to start, for example, in Italy, from the cities of the north, the cities that usually are better in recycling because of because we have to easy our operation initially, and then when we have maybe some capital, some other resources, then we can of course export all of this also in other cities and also in foreign countries. So I hope to have answered.
Thank you very much.
Thank you also for your presentation. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, great, because I tried to jump in earlier, but nobody could see and hear me, so probably I discovered there's something wrong.
Yeah, there's some technicalities, but don't worry.
When I
can hear
switch
you.
off the camera, then nobody can hear and see me anymore. Anyways, thanks also from my side. I think I understand that. I mean, your model works correctly if citizens put the right product in the locker and it's high quality, as you were suggesting and clarifying. I was wondering, what is the contingency plan? Let's say if the waste is not the quality you expect. I mean, then is that a burden on you? So you then have to get rid of that, and you don't get paid for that. Do you have estimation? Do you have any idea of how many? Maybe I'm a citizen. I think the product is in good shape, and then it is not for you. So I guess there is an issue here in terms of checking the quality and then what to do with the items that don't have the quality. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Of course, we have a prevention plan. So before you you put your item into the locker, okay, you should make a picture first of all, or also, of course, we require you few data. So, for example, the brand, the model, okay, before you leave it to the locker. Okay, that's our prevention plan. Then consider that actually in Italy, basically all the devices arrive to the recycling company broken, because you usually, if you go to the collection center, you usually take the item and then boom, you throw it. So it is all broken. Of course, that price that I mentioned before is the price for broken devices. So we can expect, for example, that with the recycling company, we can sign more favorable contracts for us. And so we can allocate a contingency in order to cover non-paid items, but it's very difficult because companies actually are, I don't know, they already have broken items. So I don't think it is a very big problem, also because if we have a prevention plan, if we care about during the collection, and then of course, usually the collection process is taken by the company that has contracted us. So the recycling company arrive with this lorry and then it charge all the items and bring it away. So it's up to them then at that point. But consider that we have that prevention plan. I think that's more than enough. So to guarantee high quality recycling. Also considering the actual condition, of course.
Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we still have a lot of teams to listen to. Thank you very much for your presentation, guys.
Thank you too for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So see you in a while. Now I will move you back to the audience, and if the team from H2 Home can write me the names. Okay. I'm missing Filippo. Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, everybody. Okay, so whenever you're ready, guys, share your screen and you can start whenever you want.
Nice. Let me check if I can hear. Tell me if you can see my screen. Then perfect. We are. So let's start. So we are the group H2 Home, and today we're going to present you our idea. So I wanted to start with this picture. This is a picture that actually I took from my room. And as a first sight, it can seem just a nice sunset picture. But if you look a bit better, you can see that there is some undesired guests. All that smoggy clouds that you see coming out of the buildings are actually very bad molecules called like carbon dioxide or particulate matter 10. And what we want to tell you today is that we want to try to make you understand who is responsible for these emissions. This is another picture that I took from my room as well. And here you can see that all that buildings, and at the end of the day, this is a picture in Milan, takes a layer of super ugly gray gases here in Milan. And nobody knows, but 60% of emission of PM10 and CO2 in cities comes from domestic heating. And 95% of domestic heating are still fed by methane, LPG, or biomass, so fossil fuels. Today, we want to show you that we have a solution to this problem. We want to tell you that there is a technology that can, instead of emitting all that bad molecules, only emit water vapor. It's a dream, No, let's see. A solution is called H-Home, is an independent hydrogen-fueled house that is characterized by 0% of pollutant emission and 100% independency, both from the electrical grid and the gas grid. How does it work? Very simple. Everybody starts from a photovoltaic panel that when, let's say, when there is some excess of electricity production that is not directly consumed by the house, this excess of energy is sent to an electrolyzer that consume water and store this excess energy into hydrogen. Later, when this energy is needed, for example, in the night, and there is no solar panel available, this hydrogen stored is converted back to both heat and electricity for the house. And the only emission of this process is water vapor.
So Filippo explained you the solution, our answer to the problem, but we need also to verify the consistency with the broader context. For example, we acknowledge that we have a natural competitor that are batteries, but we are also well aware of our advantages. We want also to insert our idea and our team in the increasing attention to hydrogen and related matters. Here we developed our medium long-term strategy, but what is the most important takeaway from these slides and in general from our presentation, that trust us, this idea works, it fits in the macro context. But to start, the first step in our vision is the H2 So the single house that you can think to it about both as our MVP, but also as the means by collecting data and information to better tune the technology and also to allow us to scale up, and as you will see later, to hospitals and energy communities, for example. So going to the business model, we would like to analyze with you probably the trickiest parts. So for example, who is going to buy such house? In our opinion, wealthy people with attention to upcoming technologies, but in particular to environment. Just to provide you an example, recently Bill Gates purchased a hydrogen-powered yacht. And in our opinion, this is the capital proof, let's say, of the existence of such a target that, in our opinion, for houses can be even bigger. And now, how to reach this target? And here, this goes beyond our capabilities, actually. So we thought to sign partnerships with already established luxury real estate players that can help us in reaching these clients. Why they would do this? Because we are providing them the potential disruption for the decades that are expecting us in the next future. We can both work as technology providers, so helping in the renewal of such houses, but also we can develop the building of an house from scratch and then sell it with a unique competitive advantage that this house can be placed wherever we want, really wherever. And also we can sell data to hydrogen players. And for what concerns costs, the costs are mainly related to the equipment needed, so the electrochemical devices and the PV. Our team has the capabilities to size, based on the consumption profiles of our client, the devices needed, and on the basis of this, establish the cost. And that's it.
So thanks, Giulio. For what concerns the development and the path to the progress of this idea, we think that a strength, as Giulio mentioned, of this system is the high scalability that allows to exploit the effect of economies of scale, lowering the specific cost in large-scale applications and favoring a rapid growth of the product. So one possibility is to apply our idea to the concept of hydrogen-based energy communities, or can also be applied in situations related to developing countries like hydrogen hospitals, and finally, such as in Sardinia, in application where there is currently no gas network. if we look more closely at the first example that I mentioned, the hydrogen community, we can understand how the installation of one or more of the system of the hydrogen home systems can have concrete advantages in terms of reduction of the emissions and seasonal energy hydrogen storage. Continuing with the second example, the hydrogen hospital, we see how our system can be very useful even in situations where there is no electricity and gas network and the system works only thanks to water supply. So this is the end of our pitch. Just a few words about the team behind the idea. We are just three guys, colleagues and friends that share passions, innovation, try to propose solutions, challenge ourselves about energy problems. We try to match what we are and what we like with what the world needs. So thank for the attention.
Thanks very much for your presentation. So now it's the time for the questions.
Yes, if I may, guys, sorry, I didn't grasp your technology. I mean, you mentioned, you talk about hydrogen system, no? Or just the storage. Is it something that, I mean, you already did? I mean, did you address any, you know, the issues related to the hydrogen storage in a home? Could you be more specific about it, the technology?
Sure. Maybe I will take back the slide when we presented it. But actually, there are three main parts of the technology, three main equipments. As we were saying, the first part of energy comes from the solar, so from a PV panel. This PV panel, let's say, feed a second equipment that is called an electrolyzer. This is an electrochemical device that is actually capable of transforming water and electricity into hydrogen. So just transforming the surplus electricity produced by the panel into a gas. So a gas that you can simply store into storage tanks, like you can see here. And after all, this, let's say, storage can, let's say, shift the energy produced during the day or during the summer, for example, where there is a huge excess of energy production from the solar panel, and use this energy back when it's needed. So this hydrogen will go back to a fuel cell. This is a third equipment that will turn back what is a gas into electricity and useful heat. So electricity.
Yeah. Sorry. I was not clear on my question. Okay. Yes, I got. Let's say the principles now behind the model. I didn't understand if you already built a prototype. What kind of a technology readiness level you already reached? Some information about the prototype, because the physics is clear. Perfect. But you had to put all these pieces inside a home, if I'm right.
If I can join this question, how do you manage this complexity, and do you propose yourself as a system integrator, or you offer a built-in solution, and who is your customer, the final consumer, or?
Yes, what we try to do, of course, entering in a manufacturing process would be quite difficult for us. So what we thought is to also make some partnership with electrolyzers and fuel cell producers. We have some very innovative one also in Italy. So our target, of course, is to get in contact with them. And what we want to create is first of all a prototype, but so an equipment that has everything inside, and then sell this, let's say, equipment to final consumers. So to house. For example, for a house renewal, as Giulio was saying, so for example, to a customer that wants to renew his house and add value to his house, or simply through some partnership with real estates, simply enter in the real estate market. So create this technology inside luxury houses that will be sold at the end to final customers. So yes, the answer is our target is first of all rich target, let's say.
Filippo, sorry, if I can add something. I would say a bonus, let's say, to what Filippo said, that in our opinion, for big hydrogen players, so think, for example, to SNAM, it can be really interesting to exploit the data that we will collect with our prototypes or with our first sales about how hydrogen can really answer to a typical consumption profile of a family, of a holiday house, and so on. So in our opinion, also industry can be really interested to our idea.
So to answer the question of Stefano, of course, no, we didn't start building up a prototype. This is the idea. So of course, we need money to buy this equipment, to put them together, and to prove that the technology is feasible. The good part of this project, as we showed, is that we can start from an MVP, so from a very, let's say, little application like a house, and then show that this technology can work for a house with all the benefits that we mentioned. So having totally zero emission from the house, and total independence from the grid, both electrical and the gas grid. And then when we prove that this technology will work from a single house, scale up to the other application that Bernardo mentioned. This is our, let's say, the way that we would like to bring on this project. Of course, we need fundraising at the beginning.
Very fast. Who are your competitors? What do you think? Your main competitors?
Of course, the very first thing that we thought is that a technology competitor, of course, is battery storage, you know? So storing the electricity produced, the excess electricity produced in photovoltaics in batteries. But let me think that our technology has some very, let's say, additive future that the battery storage cannot provide. For example, long-term storage. Just for an example, imagine a city like Milan that during the summer, let's say there is some period of the summer where people doesn't stay in the city, and so usually the consumption go down a bit. And in the same exact moment, there is a huge amount of sunlight coming to the city. So with this kind of technology, we can store the energy produced into the summer, and so transporting it into hydrogen, and bring it back to the winter consumption. And we know that in the winter is the moment where the emissions are really coming up a lot. So this technology could store the energy produced in the sunlight in the summer, and resolve a problem later in the, let's say, in the winter. Why I'm telling you this? Because battery cannot actually do this. And so this is what we think that is really a feature that will help it together with the competition against batteries.
Sorry, can I ask you something about this final part that you mentioned about the seasonal storage? I think this is very interesting. I was wondering, how do you see that doing it done in small isolated devices across different single households? Because well, you get a lot of energy, of course, during summer. You could store a lot of energy in hydrogen. But then if you want to do something in long term, even if you stay away like 2 weeks, okay, what happens? Do you plan to like sell the excess energy that you don't need to produce hydrogen like to the grid, for example? Or do you think you can connect, I don't know, storages and have a network of hydrogen, for example, exchange, something like that? Or what's your feeling about that?
Okay, Filippo, if you can take the slide about the cost, I think a visual answer can be better. Just 1 second. Okay, yes, thanks. So the driver with which we sized the overall equipment was the complete independence. And you can see here in this graph, we have the Excel, but this is the storage profile over the year. So you can see that, of course, during winter, the storage is at the minimum. We actually, what we would like to design is not a connection with the grid, but a continuous storage. So this is our main driver, a complete independent house. This is the main driver. And that is our advantage, because being independent, we do not need the grid. And you can also ask to us, and how would you do in the short term? So for example, you come home in the night and you want to turn on the light. How do to get rid of the transition times of a fuel cell? If we go back to the scheme of the plant, let's say, so to our technologies, we have a small battery to cover those very short time transitions. So we thought all the idea to be independent. This is, I think, a key word of our idea. I hope I answered to your question.
Yes, thank you. Just a very small, how big is the storage? Just to have an understanding for this seasonal complete storage that you simulated.
In terms of
like
kilos,
the size, really, I mean.
Yeah, in terms of kilos of hydrogen, should be something like 50 kilos of hydrogen. So it should go, maybe Bernardo is more familiar with the numbers, it should go like 5 of that tank storage. Yeah, just that this is tank storage of 5 square meter, 5 cubic meter of storage, so 5 of them. Anyway, we have more details in the in this Excel that we build it up to create this simulation, and so yeah, this is here 30 kilo of hydrogen that we need to turn it back to meters, to cubic meters. But I remember it was 5 tanks.
Sorry, guys, the time is over for questions. Thank you very much for your presentation, and thank you for your project. And see you.
Thank you.
In a second. Okay, so now it's the turn of the Lambda team. Okay, perfect. So, Arthur.
Hello.
Perfect. You're all set.
Okay. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, whenever you want.
All right, let's go.
Perfect.
We've all been hacked. Your property has been stolen and exchanged by malicious third parties, and all of this without your knowing and without any proper remedy. About 158 accounts are hacked every second, and on top of this, a 2020 report found that it took an average of 280 days to even identify a breach. We also consider IoT devices growing at an exponential rate that there's an estimate of 70% of them that are considered unfit for safe usage. This is an accelerating trend, and we are running late. Imagine a world where intruders casually enter your house about once a year and steal your belongings, without you even being able to know if it happened, how it happened, and most importantly, how it will impact you in the future. This is the world we live in. Cyberspace is a wild land where users have only themselves to rely on. We need to take action to incentivize safe behavior and risk hedging for everyone. Cyberspace is unsustainable because we are not safe, and the only way to solve this is by facilitating access to reliable, accessible, and most importantly, user-friendly ecosystem where all of your cyber risks can be assessed and treated. An ecosystem where we will protect, react, and resolve. Protect you through regular audits of your system, reaction through standardized responses to incoming threats, and finally, technical or financial support in case of suffered harm. This value proposition will be achieved through an evolving product portfolio, starting with personal assistance to an all-in-one establishment of monitoring and action-taking processes. In order to facilitate initial traction, we believe that the cost-effective way to proceed is by providing insurance services. If you subscribe to our service, we will provide you with a financial remedy in case of cyber attack. Think of us as the AirHelp of cybersecurity. If a third party suffers from a data breach, you are entitled to compensation, and we will make sure that it will be done. On the other hand, our presence will increase the user's bargaining power, and on the other hand, we will decrease transaction costs, which actually will overall benefit the responsible company itself. This initial model will generate recurring revenues, which will then source standardized remedy processes, be it cash or technical consulting. And the more customers will be educated, the less likely there will be a need for a remedy. It is a real macro-driven opportunity. Following the event of past year, more and more people are relying on their online presence to generate revenue. It is becoming an even more critical aspect of one's life. And other actors in this industry completely skip this positioning. While in fact some attempt to target the private customer segment, they fail to do so, and the reason for this is their rigidity. Their high fixed cost infrastructures prevent them from downscaling to non-corporate needs, where the risk is actually less concentrated. Now, our vision is not easy to establish. In order to better focus our efforts, we've decided to divide our strategy into 3 distinct chunks. First, we'll need to guarantee sustainability of the business. We will, by gathering initial resources through a minimum viable product. As I previously stated, our initial assumption is that the best product to fit this is insurance. Then we'll be able to increase our infrastructure investments in order to broaden our product offering and greatly improve our ability to efficiently capture value and generate value. And finally, we'll make cybersecurity a mass product. We cannot imagine a world where your data, your identity, is a way for a malicious actor to make money or, in some cases, win elections. Our competitive advantage is initially based on niche customers' high willingness to pay, simply because of the absence of such service. Our first target are digital entrepreneurs. They're a sort of hybrid between business and consumers. Their online presence is their main asset, and they need constant protection from the well-established risks they faced, from identity theft to account theft, and many others. In the future, we'll be able to strengthen our competitive advantage through broadening in services, parallel to the development of cost advantage due to economies of scope. Cybersecurity is based on knowledge, knowledge of consumer needs, and knowledge of potential threats. Further, we would like to stress that scale will allow us to reduce exceptional costs by automating many of our processes. Machine learning will progressively allow us to better anticipate threats. Integrating it in all of our products will improve our costs and, of course, our efficiency. Some of these points are greatly underlined in our enterprise architecture plan. Compliments to Giacomo for making it. Please feel free to give it a look. Our data is what defines us. It is our property and should be handled accordingly. Today, the skills required to accurately protect yourself in cyberspace are unfortunately inaccessible to the majority. It is not a sustainable way to proceed. Cyberspace is the new space where we interact with one another, the new place where we consume, share, and meet. We strongly believe that we need to re-equilibrate the balance of power, and this is the only way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So let's proceed with questions from the judges.
Just a brief question. In which way do you think your idea and business is sustainable?
So do you mean sustainable from a financial sense or in the case of this competition?
In a complete sense.
All right. So on one hand, we believe that our product, our company is sustainable through our growth acquisition stage. Simply that at the initial, we will gather resources, which will later allow us to sustain a competitive advantage and keep investing. And in the context of this competition, we took sustainability in the literal sense. Sustainability in the sense that things should keep going on. And in the current state, cyber threats prevent this from happening. We're more and more reliant on the internet. Internet of Things is a great way of seeing this. And we cannot believe of a sustainable future if what we base our lives on is not reliable. Does this answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, Great. Thank you very much.
If I may, I think so. Thank you very much for your presentation. Very interesting. Thank you. I think that you said that you would like to make an MVP in order also to test it and adapt according to what the clients say with the results. Have you done some market fit analysis, or have you done some questionnaires or surveys, or other on your idea, and especially on your solution?
Yes. So as stated, we were thinking of starting with a niche of clients, more specifically digital entrepreneurs. We have contacted a couple of them, and we asked them first if they had any sort of services already in place, maybe through their agency or solely through their own choices. The answer was no. And then we started to assess whether or not they considered that they had faced quite some risks by doing this job. And the most answers we got were yes. Unfortunately, these people are not ready. They're not hedging their risks, in the sense that you just need one breach into their account and their whole business is over. You just need one malicious attack and everything is over. So we do have a market fit within this segmentation of clients.
But I mean, because I'm sorry if I make a question. I ask a question that you might have answered, but I had some problems with connection, so I haven't fully understood your reply.
Of course.
But no, my idea is, have you also tested your with clients your solution, your idea of solution? So not only the existence of the problem solution is the right one, and is the one that is searched for the problem.
So we have not built an actual MVP yet. No, so we have not put on the field.
Sure. I mean, just with your surveys. So with the clients,
we have. Yes,
did you presented your solution? I mean, not only the fact that the assessment of the existence of the problem,
yes,
but about your solution. If the market wants your solution or not.
So again, in this niche market of digital entrepreneurs, yes, there was a positive answer to our solution. Because sorry, I forgot. Of course, I didn't express myself properly. We started by assessing their risk and assessing their initial solution, and then proposing our solution and evaluating whether or not it would be of interest for them. And in fact, it was. But they simply didn't consider it as a possibility. They didn't know that such solution existed. They didn't think this was the default option. They just thought this was a gimmick in some sense. It wasn't accessible for them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have a question. You talk about cybersecurity, no? I'm just reading your capabilities. How do you assess your specialized competencies? I mean, you are from Bocconi, you are from Politecnico, and now you're great universities. It seems that Giacomo has a computer science engineering background. So it seems that your project is heavy based on hard technologies, software. At least this is what I got from your presentation. So how do you assess your team? Do you have all the resources that you need to develop your project, or you need some more capabilities?
Maybe Lorenzo, Giacomo, you would like to answer this?
Yeah, I can take it on, and then Giacomo, if you want to add something, just feel free to go after me. Actually, this is totally a very good question. Actually, the main point about our solution, that it may look easy, because at the end we're talking about fighting a real problem with the computer science skills. One of our strengths, in my opinion, that I was talking about is situated in our partners. We are university student in peculiar universities with a strong network, and we really want to leverage on our network in order to attract people. And we think that a solution like this could be, of course, with the right method and with the right implementation, could be a very attractive solution for students like us that are studying these topics. One of them is Giacomo, and this is our starting point for sure. But they can really be attracted to us and to something like that, to something challenging like this, because for a computer science engineer, this is something very challenging.
Yes, thanks. For sure, many of other students from my field of study in IT and in cybersecurity are really interested in working in such a project, because it's challenging and it offers new possibilities than a classical cybersecurity analysis in big tech companies.
I totally agree with both of you. To put both comments in a nutshell, I think our key resources would obviously be human capital, which would be acquired, as they just said. And on the other hand, potential partners that would allow us to further propose our services. And one idea we had was, for instance, online banks like N26, for instance, that could include our services within their features, their premium features. That would be one option, for instance.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? We still have just 4 minutes, actually. Okay, if that's not the case, I would proceed. Thank you very much, guys, for your presentation and for your idea.
Thank you.
And so I would proceed with the next team, that is Sowit. So, guys, if you write me your name, I will proceed with adding you to the speakers. Okay. So, Nicola. Simone. Missing just Simone. Okay.